Well, we always say retirement is a journey, one that you shouldn't have to navigate solo. So that is why every week here on The Right Path to Retirement, we turn to financial advisor Jimmy Lynn, certified financial planner and the founder of Right Path Wealth Management right here in Las Vegas. I want to lighten things up for a moment, Jimmy, because I found an article this week on BuzzFeed that actually made me laugh out loud. It listed some luxury habits of the 1% that the average person has probably never heard of. So some of them included a billionaire who rents fresh, pristine swans for his pond outside his house because the real ones are just a little too scruffy for his liking. Another 1%er put her dog in her will, and now her estate pays a housekeeper $36,000 a year to care for this dog as long as it's alive. Somebody else mentioned having kidnap and ransom insurance, and another executive's family had air conditioning on their front lawn, Jimmy. They were literally blowing cold air across their grass. So this list made me laugh because some of these are incredibly unbelievable. But I'm wondering if there is anything that the rest of us little people can take away from this list. What can we learn from this?
Yeah, this list made me laugh too. But Casey, then I read the one about kidnap and ransom insurance.
Yes.
And during this time that we're in with the Savannah Guthrie story, that's where I was like, whoa, it kind of made it real. Like it's almost like copycat scenarios where now I think a lot of the wealthy, they may actually, I think the market for kidnap and ransom insurance is going to be going up there, which is a sad thing to say. But what this list really tells us is that, people with billions of dollars, they have the ability to buy things like kidnap and ransom insurance. They have.
What's the everyday equivalent to the retirement planning version of the kidnap and ransom insurance?
Yeah.
What can us everyday people who maybe aren't high profile targets, what can we be doing that's, equal to getting that kidnap and ransom?
Well, what this entire list is really doing is it's buying insurance and certainty. That's what we're really looking at. I mean, billionaires may be buying kidnap and insurance or swans or pampering their pets. But for real retirees, there are equivalents to that, right? You're just buying certainty. I mean, one example could be just saying, I want the certainty of guaranteed income. I want to make sure that every single month I get a paycheck, not only now, but when I'm 85 or 90 years old. I don't want to think about how I'm going to reallocate my funds. I just want that certainty. And you can do that because, that essentially is what a pension is. So the billionaires have their cash that they're throwing out for their kidnap and ransom insurance. Well, for us normal people, we have 401ks, we have TSPs, we have 403bs where we've worked hard to save money. And now we can use those assets to give us that income insurance, guaranteeing that not only are we going to have our Social Security in our later years, but we're also going to have another reliable income stream. So when those paychecks come in, we know our bills are going to be paid during those years. So that's a perfect example of that. But overall, what this really illustrates that wealthy people do really, really well, that all of us have to make sure we also do that, because one thing that doesn't cost a lot of money is planning, right? Just having a plan to identify, do I need income insurance in my later years? Do I need things like long-term care? Long-term care is another thing that you just want to ensure that we have the ability to do. So when you start thinking about this, that's all these billionaires are doing is they just happen to have everything else covered because they have so much money, but you got to get the base covered first. So things like long-term care, some things like income planning, estate planning, it all comes down to just having an estate plan where, like they're taking care of their dogs in their will. Well, you got to make sure as an individual, we may not, some of us, and I'll tell you, Casey, I do have people that when we're talking about the wills, they're talking about, okay, we got to make sure where our pets are going too. So we're taking care of those, but just having that all mapped out, you can see as I'm talking through this, that there's so many different areas that you have to plan for. And we can do the same things as the billionaires on a smaller scale, but with the things that we're focused on, we're not focused on air conditioning our grass. We're not thinking about, swans, but we are thinking about income. We are thinking about long-term care. And long-term care has just been one that has been so popular recently. I've had so many clients coming in saying, Jimmy, I got all my pieces taken care of. The one thing that I haven't taken care of yet is long-term care. And the reality is it's kind of difficult to address that because traditionally it's been so expensive to be able to take care of long-term care, but there are other options out there now that we talk to our clients all the time about.
I'm curious how much stress you see disappear from your clients once they know that they've got the basics covered for their retirement plan.
Oh, it's amazing. So just kind of give you an idea, when clients come into our office for that in-person meeting, if their situation is complex enough and if they want to come in and meet us, we actually bring up our planning tools. We illustrate for them what retirement planning looks like and how we can clarify their whole situation. We put all their buckets of money in place, all their expenses, create their goals, how much is insurance going to cost you, and things of that nature. When we map that all out and they can visually see this and then visually see that how their income is coming through over the next 20, 30 years, it gives them that sense of relief. And it literally just blows my mind because I enjoy seeing that sense of relief. I had a client that onboarded with us back in around Christmas time, moved over all her assets. But to be fair, she was very hesitant. She never had an advisor before. She looked me up and down, researched everything about us, listened to our podcast, which I was happy to hear, but just did her due diligence, and then we rolled over her assets into her Fidelity account. And when she came in a couple weeks ago, just because the holidays, we finally got a chance to onboard her, and we mapped out the plan. We started explaining to her how we're going to map out her income, understand that she's going to be okay, not only now, but 20 years from now, 30 years from now, because of how we're going to invest her assets, how we're going to pull her income. When she was able to visually see that and see how the numbers matched up, she sent an email to me just saying, I feel so much relief that I met with you and Amanda, who's our lead planner. She sat down with us and she said, so much relief. I know now I made the right decision. And that just says it all, because this is someone that was very, very skeptical.
Yeah.
And now we gave her that relief going into retirement. So again, that's what we do in our office. And we'd love an opportunity to talk to anyone out there that, wants that type of experience, has kind of that anxiety. And if you just are uncertain about working with an advisor, I get it. Right? There's some bad reputations out there, but give us a chance. I think you're going to see that we are different. So give us a chance. If you want to start that conversation, call us at 702-744-8344.
Absolutely. Most of us, we are not worried about air conditioning our lawn or having the most beautiful swans, but we are worried about retirement. We're worried about taxes. We're worried about making sure our family is going to be okay. And that is where having the right advisor can make all the difference for you. So 702-744-8344 is that phone number. Again, I want you to claim your spot for this complimentary retirement consultation, a conversation directly with Jimmy. 702-744-8344 or online at rightpathwm.com. So what really jumps out, Jimmy, is how differently people with resources tend to think about aging and their later years in life. Instead of slowing down, a lot of them kind of reinvent themselves, which actually ties us into a different story I ran across this week that I wanted to talk to you about. 10 years ago, I don't know if you remember the Mexican beer brand Dos Equis, but they were on a roll. They had this huge campaign featuring the world's most interesting man, and it was absolutely a sales hit for them. Until they decided to update the world's most interesting man character with somebody a little younger, and then the entire campaign flopped. So now they've actually brought back the original most interesting man, and they have made his storyline, chalking up his absence to a case of amnesia.
He was the most interesting man in the world. Then the unthinkable. He forgot everything. He is, once again, the most interesting man in the world.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I still prefer Dos Equis. Stay thirsty, my friends.
So that is character actor Jonathan Goldsmith, who at age 87 came out of retirement to resume his role. So my question on this to you, Jimmy, is if somebody is thinking about that encore career, what all needs to be in place so that it's a choice for them and it's not a necessity that they have to go back to work?
I didn't know about that story, and I'm happy because I remember him, and he was.
I do too. Yeah, hit. Welcome back, world's most interesting.
I do remember when they tried to switch him out, which didn't go well. But then, I just kind of stopped remembering him. So I'm happy to hear that.
Back, baby.
And that is some inspiration, right? Because it's never too late. We hear stories all the time. I think Kentucky Fried Chicken was founded, and I believe he started his business, I want to say in his 60s or his 80s. I don't remember, but I think it was the 60s that KFC was started. So it's never too late to be able to reinvent yourself. But what you really want to do is find your passion. That's, I think it all boils down to finding your passion as far as kind of what you want that next phase of your life to look like. Our working years, hopefully you were blessed enough to have a job that fulfilled yourself. But, a lot of times we're not that fortunate. But as you go into retirement, you want to have something that you can wake up to, because we see studies where people who retire later in life and then they don't have any other type of plan in place, they don't do well in retirement just because they don't have something that gets them up in the morning every single day, keeps them active, keeps their mind sharp. But I really believe find out what you love internally. Like if money was not an issue, what would you want to do? Because technology these days is amazing and you can learn traits, you can create plans. I mean, AI is amazing. It can walk you through what you need to do. So I would say embrace that. If you need help with that, grab your kids, grab your grandkids and have them walk you through what you should do. But there's so much out there right now. And if you need some help, call us up. We'll walk you through some of that stuff. But yeah, I think that finding your passion, you can reinvent yourself. I see it all the time with my clients. A lot of my clients do volunteer work because they don't need the money, so that fulfills them. Some of my clients, they'll do work where they will get paid, but they'll get paid to work at stadium events. So they always get to see the biggest shows in Vegas.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And they get some pretty good seats because they're in the aisles, they're directing traffic, but they get to see everything. So there's something to do, but I would say it's very important to find your passion because we're living long lives now. People are living, into their late 80s, nearly to 100 oftentimes. So you got to find the passion. You got to fill that time and find that passion and start educating yourself on that next phase of life.
That is going to do it for us this week. We will be back next week, same time, same place, with more great insight from certified financial planner Jimmy Lynn here on The Right Path to Retirement. Take care.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Right Path Wealth Management. Right Path Wealth Management is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Right Path Wealth Management are not subject to investment advisory requirements. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Any reference to the protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing carrier. This radio podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It's not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decision, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Right Path Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Right Path Wealth Management.
Market Guard is a firm that provides investment signals as well as portfolio allocation recommendations, wide variety of model portfolios. Market Guard does not offer advice or enter into fiduciary relationships.